May 17th, 1992. Dear friend, it seems like every morning since that first night, I wake up dull and my head hurts, and I can't breathe. Patrick and I have been spending a lot of time together. We drink a lot. Actually, it's more like Patrick drinks and I sip. It's just hard to see a friend hurt this much, especially when you can't do anything except be there. I want to make him stop hurting, but I can't. So I just follow him around wherever he wants to show me whenever he wants to show me his world. One night, Patrick took me to this park where men go to find each other. Patrick told me that if I didn't want to be bothered by anyone, that I should not make eye contact. He said that eye contact is how you agree to fool around with someone anonymously. Nobody talks, they just find places to go. After a while, Patrick saw someone he liked. He asked me if I needed any cigarettes, and when I said no, he patted my shoulder and walked away with this boy. I just sat on a bench looking around. All I saw were the shadows of people, some on the ground, some by a tree, some just walking. It was so quiet. After a few minutes, I lit a cigarette and I heard someone whisper, "You got an extra cigarette?" the voice asked. I turned around and saw a man in shadow. "Sure," I said. I reached out to hand the man a cigarette. He took it. "You got a light?" he said. "Sure," I said, and I struck a match for him. Instead of just leaning down and lighting the cigarette, he decided to make a cup around the match with our hands, which is something we all do when it's windy. But it wasn't windy. I think he just wanted to touch my hands because while he was lighting the cigarette, he did it for a lot longer than necessary. Maybe he wanted me to see his face over the glow of the match, to see how handsome he was. I don't know. He did look familiar, but I couldn't figure out from where. He blew out the match. "Thanks," and exhaled. "No problem," I said. "Mind if I sit down?" he asked. "Not really." He sat down and said a few things, and it was his voice. I recognized his voice. So I lit another cigarette and looked at his face again and thought hard, and that's when I figured it out. It was the guy who does the sports on the TV news. "Nice night," he said. I couldn't believe it. I guess I managed to nod because he kept talking about sports. He kept talking about how the designated hitter in baseball was bad and why baseball was a commercial success and what teams looked promising in college football. He even mentioned my brother's name, I swear. All I said was, "So what's it like being on television?" It must have been the wrong thing to say because he just got up and walked away. It was too bad because I wanted to ask him if he thought my brother would make the pros. Another night, Patrick took me to this place where they sell poppers, which is this drug you inhale. They didn't have poppers, but the guy behind the counter said that he had something that was just as good. So Patrick bought that. It was in this aerosol can. We both took a sniff of it, and I swear we both thought we were going to die of a heart attack. All in all, I think Patrick took me to about every place there is to go that I wouldn't have known about otherwise. There was this karaoke bar on one of the main streets in the city. And there was this dance club and this one bathroom and this one gym. All these places. Sometimes Patrick would pick up guys. Sometimes he wouldn't. He said it was hard being safe and you never know. The nights he would pick up someone always made him sad. It's hard too because Patrick began every night excited. He said he always felt free and tonight was his destiny and things like that. But by the end of the night, he just looked sad. Sometimes he would talk about Brad. Sometimes he wouldn't. But after a while, the whole thing just wasn't interesting to him anymore, and he ran out of things to keep himself numb. So tonight, he dropped me off at home. It was the night we went back to the park where men meet, and the night he saw Brad there with some guy. Brad was too into what he was doing to notice us. Patrick didn't say anything. He didn't do anything. He just walked back to the car, and we drove in silence. On the way, he threw the bottle of wine out the window, and it landed with a crash. And this time, he didn't try to kiss me like he had every other night. He just thanked me for being his friend and drove away. Love always, Charlie.